What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Earthrise Arcee. So this is actually from the show. So we just had the Netflix series that came out, and she did appear in that series. Although I guess we'll probably see more of her later in the series. But here she is, and let's take a quick 360. There is quite a bit of backpack, but you can't actually take it off. It's detachable. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you do have pretty much the entire car on her pack. And she does have some of the traditional colors. Some of the colors are a little weird, especially in the face. There's no shading of any kind, so it just tends to be, almost too white and not a lot of breakup there. But pretty good looking RC. Pretty reasonable proportions on her. You can take off this backpack, so go ahead and just pull off here. There's two tabs that fit right there, and then down here there's a little release button right there. So you push that release button, that'll release this tab here, and then you can pull out the other side. You can also just pull it out, but you're supposed to press this release. It is a spring-loaded release there. And without that piece of the backpack, she does look a little bit nicer, a little bit more proportioned. And she stands a little bit better. With this backpack, it's a little too heavy. And it's really her knees that are the issue. The knees, they're all pin joints. So you got pin joint there, then a pin joint at the foot. And, we'll talk a little bit more about that final thoughts. But without that backpack, she stands a lot better. It's a lot easier to pose. And then you can take this backpack. You can turn this into a skateboard or a surfboard, whatever you want to call it. So you can basically fold that in, so it's in there like that. And then you see there's two pegs, one here and one here, and you can plug her feet into there. So the bottom of her feet have peg holes on there, and you can get her pegged in. And again, you could probably get some nice poses if you tried. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but there you go. There's her surfing on her back. It looks okay. It's not bad. But I just think this is kind of silly to have the parts forming piece. I'm glad they gave you the option to keep it on her back. The other thing, she also comes with a gun. So it's this translucent, clear gun. And it looks nice. It's just, I wish it was painted gray, kind of like similar to the other grays, or maybe some details on it. It's just got nothing. It's just plain old clear. You can, let's get her off of here. You can get that into her hand so she can wield that. And it looks pretty good. You can also take this and you can peg it into her back. There's a couple places you can peg it. So you can peg it right here on the back of the piece here. Either side. You can also peg it on her butt. So there's a little slot right there. You can put it like that, or you can put it the other way. Whatever you really prefer. And then if you had this on her back, there's not really a spot on here to get it on there, right? Because you've got this pegged into here. So there you go. Some options for you for display. Now, let's go over her articulation. She is quite articulated, but there are some things that are a little bit problematic. But let's go over articulations. The head is on a rotation joint. It's not on a ball joint, so you can't get any up and down. You can't get any side to side. It's a little bit disappointing on that. I feel like she really could have benefited from a ball jointed head on here. You can move the backpack up and down. It's mostly for transformation, but you can kind of get different angles and stuff. So that's a nice option there. You have the shoulder, rotates all the way up to there, also rotates all the way around. So you've got two joints there. One that rotates this way and the one that rotates this way. You have a rotation at the bicep. You have a single jointed elbow, but it gets you way past 90 degrees. You have a joint at the hand that goes in and out like this. And then the hand is just a solid piece. You have a waist rotation here that goes all the way around. No ab crunch. You do have a thigh rotation that gets all the way up to there, back to there, and then I say thigh rotation here, And then you also have a thigh rotation here. So you have the inner thigh rotation up on the top there that gets you that movement, and then you have this movement down here. So that's nice. You get a double jointed knee that gets you all the way back to there. Again, used for transformation. Then you have an ankle pivot this way, and I thought that's all you had, but luckily I talked to T-Man. He said no, there is an ankle pivot, and that's it. That's all you get. It's that tiny little movement right there. You can't stop it in the middle. It's either all the way this way or all the way this way, and that's it. That does help you to get some better poses. So if you wanted to get her feet flat on the ground, you do need to utilize that ankle tilt or ankle pivot, or whatever you call it. And you can get her to some nice poses. She can do a lot. I do wish her head would rotate, but that's what you can get. And for a size comparison, here she is with the Earthrise Airwave, which is part of this wave of figures, and pretty much the same height. If you really need a measurement, here is the measure. She's 5 inches to the top of her head, a little bit taller to the backpack, but about 5 inches. So good size, fits in with the rest of the Earthrise. Good scale. I think she just looks nice and decent in terms of the sculpt and the size of the character. And also get her transformed into her vehicle mode. You can leave this on. You don't have to take this off. I took it off because I think she looks a lot better without it in the robot mode. But for both modes, you can actually leave this on if you wanted to. So I just wanted to show you that you can do that. Let me put this back on here. You just insert this here, and then it clicks in on the bottom here. There we go. So now you have that black locked back in. So technically this is how you would have it, unless you remove the backpack. Right, so go ahead and take her gun out, and let's get her going here. So she's actually a very simple thing to transform, and one of the easier of all of them, although there are some little bits that are annoying. So go ahead and open up this backpack and flip this around and fold this down, and we're going to get all of this in here. Shift her straight forward like this. You should be able to open up these panels here on the side. They'll just barely clear her shoulders there. And you can open up this bit here and get that pegged in there. So you got the front pretty much done. Like I said, pretty simple transformation. They should clip into here. If it hasn't clipped in, make sure you clipped it in on the top. All right. Next, we're going to work on the back. So go ahead and open up these panels here, and then flip out these little tiny panels right here on both sides. And now we can get this all pegged in. So you're going to collapse on this slider joint here. So you're going to push down on that and get that to collapse in. And at the same time, that's going to go into our back. So you can see there's a hole in her back. That's exactly where that's going to go. So if you don't have it lined up, then it's not going to go in there. So make sure you have it lined up. And at the same time, you're going to push all these little tabs in. So there's tab here, here, and here. So get those in. If they don't get in perfectly, just make an adjustment here on the sides. You should be able to get that all tabbed together on both sides. Right. For the arms, you're just going to set them right down in here, the little tab inside there, where you're going to attach it, where there's a slot on the bottom of the hand. So go ahead and push that in. And again, it's not perfect, but you can get it on there. There we go. And then on this side too, same thing. Push that into the slot. I do find it tends to pop out. And it's actually kind of tough to get in there, and it's not even worth the trip because you don't really need it. Alright, go ahead and rotate the legs around to the back. And then here's where things are kind of wonky. You're going to fold the foot flat, and you're going to try to get this at an angle so that the pink piece is up in here and then the foot is underneath these two tabs here. It's not an exact fit, honestly. It's just a little, I don't know what the word is. It's kind of loose fit, I guess, is the way I would describe it. It's not an exact fit. But basically you want the knee up there. You want, the top of the knee up here. into that little slot. You want the bottom of the knee under these tabs. Then you want the foot under these tabs. So you have it right. That's what it should look like. Again, it's not an exact fit. It tends to move around on you. All right, same on this side. Get those all tabbed in as best as you can. Again, it's not going to fit perfectly, so just do it the best it goes. Right? And if any of these tabs came out, go ahead and put those back in. There you have Arcee in her vehicle mode. And pretty nice looking vehicle mode. I think they did a good job on the detail and getting this to look like the G1 character. You do see you have the windshield there, the 2 seats. You can't really fit anybody in there. There's no foot room. But you have the Autobot logo, nice white paint on the front. Nothing really on the back. In fact, you can see the legs from the back, and it looks okay. But you know, it is Earthrise. You know, it's not a masterpiece, but there you go. Pretty good looking overall. I do find that it's mostly just a shell with a robot underneath. That's kind of how they did this transformation. You can take the gun, by the way, and the gun does fit right there, the little slot. It does kind of show up in the front, but you're not going to see it if you have it down on the ground. It does roll very smoothly and nicely, although my surface isn't very flat. You do have that same translucent. I wish this was actually gray paint versus this translucent. I don't mind this being translucent, but I feel like this should have been just that gray plastic. A little weird. Mine doesn't fall out. I've heard other people telling me it falls out. Mine is fine. And also the gun. I wish the gun was the painted gray and this was a painted gray. I'm okay with the translucent there. I understand trying to reduce the amount of different plastic they have. They also have those clear plastic for the wheels. Looks a little weird, but it's okay. With the Titans Return twin twist, you can see pretty small vehicle mode, but you know, it makes sense for a character. She's about 4¼ inches long and maybe just under an inch, or sorry, 3/4 inches tall. So a nice little vehicle mode. I think it looks good. Back into a robot mode, so we'll just reverse everything. So go ahead and take the legs out of those little spots you put them in, and you can flip them around at the thigh. Next, we're going to take out the arms, and those are pretty easy. They just don't even really peg in there. But take out the gun. Next, we'll get this backpack kind of unpegged here. So if you lift our arms out of the way, we can take care of all this. So go ahead and unpeg these two pieces here, and that's going to lift this whole thing away. And you can actually pull upwards on this joint here. And this is one of the issues. Sometimes this backpack comes unpegged. It's not the most secure thing, but put that back in. Here we go. Alright, so you're going to push this down, and that's going to give you the space to get this all squared away. So go ahead and open up these panels and fold that down. Same on this side. And you're going to rotate all the way around. Oops. And then you can peg that onto the back. Okay. Or next we'll take care of this backpack piece. So go ahead and fold this top part down. And then the shoulders, you'll have to lift her away a little bit, and that'll give you the clearance to get past her shoulder on both sides. And then you can fold her upwards all the way as far as you can. And then fold the feet down. There you have her back in her robot mode. Final thoughts on her. You know, she's pretty fun, but there are definitely some issues. So on the negatives, I think some of the joints, especially the knee joints, to get her into this pose took a little bit because the knee joints constantly failing. So you're better off just detaching this and just, you know, leaving it, because the weight of this tends to make it annoying to deal with. And without that, she actually looks really good. You know, she's just a much better looking figure, and it's balanced because of the weight. So you end up not having to worry. But then you have this extra piece, so I guess you could just set it off to the side. So that's one of my main issues, is the knees, the pin joints that they used are just a little too loose to hold up the weight of this backpack. Without that backpack, though, she looks really nice. She's very fun to pose. One of the better posing figures in the Earthrise line. A shout out to T-Man978 who pointed out that she does have ankle tilt. I would have missed that, and it was just really tight. Actually, there was a little bit of plastic kind of preventing it from folding, but with that ankle tilt you can get a lot better poses for her. You can get her much more stable, and that's a good thing. So that's really it for today. I definitely recommend this if you're collecting the Earthrise line. This is a must-have figure. Arcee is one of the only girl figures. They do have the Walmart exclusive Alita 1, which is going to be hard to get because it's an exclusive, but if you can get that, it's based off the same mold. It was probably about as good as this. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. And we will be looking at this Airwave figure at our next review. So see you then.